Well, hey now, folks. John Duffin here with Duffin Media. Welcome back to another episode of my live coaching. You get the chance here today. We get to optimize your communications by leveraging your voice. So, what's that all about, huh? Well, if you're joining me live from Facebook Live, great to see you again. Nice to connect. If you were here, drop a note in the comments and in the chat. Just helps me to know that you're here, and that means a lot to me. And if you happen to be joining me from LinkedIn, greetings and salutations, as however that goes, right? Just great to have you. Same way. Let me know that you are here. I'll be glad to acknowledge you. And we also happen to be broadcasting from YouTube Live as well, too. So it is my pleasure that you are here. I am thrilled that you get to show up. So look, as the whole purpose of the whole point. Today, what we get to do when I say optimize your communications, I'm going to drop a few of my top communications tips, which will help you optimize your communications, optimize your results. And based on the fact that I've gotten a chance to have them proven over and over and over again, I feel confident that by hanging with me, I don't know, half hour, maybe a half hour today, what we'll get the chance to do is you'll get the chance to walk away from the fact with some practical tips that should help you in your next encounter, whether it is Dave Warburton, yo, great that you're here. Thank you for the shout out, man. And so it's whether it is a Zoom presentation, an in-person presentation, a telephone conversation, for your next important communication. That's what we get to do here today. And folks, I'm going to say it seems to be like tis the season. Tis the season as I'm getting reached out to a lot. Whether it is college campuses, I've gotten the chance to speak at a couple of college campuses so far this semester. I get a chance to do it again this Thursday, and I'll let you know how that goes. But I get really excited for that. And also, professionals. I had a chance to be at the one conference for one SEO, and it was a blast. That was an in-person, as I call, exchange of energy, and I'll gladly let you know what that entails. And then I get to talk to people, job interviews, whether it's college, whether it's pro, the whole deal. So we're all trying to get something. And as I said, if we do this right, and I feel quite confident we'll do this right today, I'm going to drop you a couple of top tips, and then from there we roll on. All right. So in the meantime, right, quick question that I always like to ask before we get rolling. The question happens to be this: have you ever had a conversation, a presentation, or an encounter in business where you thought you were crushing it? Right? You thought this is great. I feel awesome, but you weren't getting the feedback, whether it was direct or indirect, that you thought you should be getting, whether it was some sort of a disconnect or flat out negative, and you just couldn't figure out why. Well, that's why we're here. That's the whole point. That's why we happen to be here, because sometimes you may not realize it's your voice. The whole purpose and point of today has nothing to do with turning you into an orator or Mr. or Ms. or they announcer person. Nobody needs that anymore, right? What we do want to do is make sure that your best, most authentic, true version of you is front and center, because I'm going to tell you that when you are communicating, most of the time, it's not with people when it really matters. They may not know you. They may not know your background. They may not know your deal. But the fact of the matter is they're evaluating you based on this one specific conversation. So to me, I want to drop, rather than just chatter, I want to drop a tip right now. And so what I'd like to do is simply this. By the way, I work with situational tactics. These are tweaks and hacks that you could use immediately to be able to get yourself ready and in gear. I'm going to, and you see right now, this top tip, as I call it, the Navy SEALs body of evidence, breathing to speak. Question: do you have 16 seconds? That's it. That's all you need to do this, by the way. So I was taught this by a psychologist. His name is Joseph Dowling. He wrote a book called Zonefulness. He works with the University of Pennsylvania's men's and women's basketball team and their rugby teams and baseball and softball. He is a trained classical clinical psychologist specializing in sports. He taught me this. So here's your 16 seconds. You ready? I'm going to show you. Let's get rid this off the screen. You can see more of me, which I know is a dream come true for you. So here you have it, right? Go. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 4 seconds. Exhale deeply for 4 seconds. And then hold that for 4 more seconds. Beautiful. Oh, by the way, you just did it. So, folks, this breathing technique is a legit breathing technique because I brought up the Navy SEALs. No, I'm not one. No, I never get confused to be one. But this is what the Navy SEALs use. This is the most elite group that pulls them out of panic situations. Google it. This is the breathing. That's the hack. It gets you out of a panic situation. Most of the time when we are speaking, communicating, obviously you're not in that kind of a panic situation, but it's amazing what the mind can do. This is literally, I call it for 5 minutes out. Why do I bring that up? So often we're psyching ourselves out of situations where you're in a, oh my God, I got to get this right. I got to get this presentation. I got to close this deal. I've got to get this job. And then you walk in the room and you're a basket case. And so often people are getting an impression of you in a matter of seconds. So, anybody have that feeling? Anybody go through that? I'll ask you better. Have you ever observed anyone in a conversation that just seems like some big bundle of nerves or all over the place or all scattered? The problem is you make judgments on other people and other people are making judgments on you and they're often wrong, right? So this Navy SEALs breathing technique at least brings you back to the present and whatever baggage you have from your other morning meetings or driving in the car or somebody cutting you off, at least to alleviate that. I'm going to add one more tip. We're going to call this your bonus tip, right? So when you're doing that 16 seconds of breathing, I talk about something called your body of evidence. Again, this was delivered to me from this psychologist who I've worked with, Joseph Dowling. And the body of evidence is what I want you to include when you are doing that breathing. And again, remember, the breathing is 16 seconds. You got the time, right? So the body of evidence, the part that is so important to me about this is how you lock in a mindset. Anybody here? And if you feel shy, that's okay. But is there anyone here who has accomplished something in their life that they think is cool? And this is not a competition or worrying about do we or me think it's cool. It's do you? Is it something you're proud of? I'll give you an example for me. It just not because I need a pat on the back. Maybe I do. But let me give you an example for me of the body of evidence part, like pulling this out of the sky, right? So I happen to have run a few marathons. This past Sunday, I ran again, not all that far, but I hadn't run in a while and I've let myself go somewhat. And I ran a distance and I can remember crossing the finish line. I actually ran several legit marathons, but let me go to last Sunday, just a couple days ago, right? And I could see the finish line and you're about to cross it. And all of the things that I was able to accomplish that I didn't think I could do. One, get up early, not hit snooze, get dressed, and show up on a really cold, unusually cold Sunday morning. Run, which I hadn't really been doing much of. Finish. So in my mind, I think of that now in terms of the next conversation when they're handing you the medals and whatever that aluminum foil wrapper is, whatever, like you won the Olympics. But we all have things that we've done that we didn't think we could do. My suggestion is have a couple of those in your present tense money bank that you can withdraw, right? Your memory bank, your memory bank that you can withdraw. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Doesn't matter if it compares to you or me or, oh my God, or Nick, or it doesn't matter. It simply has to matter to you. Have it ready. So when you're doing those 16 seconds of breathing, because again, that you need to show your best self. And there's never time to explain, well, I've had a really rough morning, or I slept bad the night before, or I've been so focused on preparing for this presentation. Nobody has time for that, right? They just see you in that moment. So get yourself in that moment. Think about that body of evidence, that proof that you can do things, right? You're not if you're me, that, oh my God, I waited too long. I started too late. I'll never be able to run again. Oh, I'm a failure. Let all that go. Lock into something cool that you've done and do the Navy SEALs breathing technique. 2 tips, right? You can do them all in 16 seconds to put yourself in a position to simply be present. Okay? Right? It just, you be amazed as to what you can accomplish when you are simply present. Just a quick repeat, by the way. People, when they hear things or when they see things, are all making guesses as to what they are. So whether it's like pops or clicks in your voice, or asking a lot of questions, I don't really know what a distraction is. So is that what you mean? That sort of upspeak. People hear these things and you may not be aware at all, but they're thinking uncertainty, tension, doubt. And again, remember, these are quick pop situations that you go in, but they really matter to you. It's your next job, it's your degree, it's your, are you going to hit your sales revenue goal or not with this presentation? Are you going to be able, I get the chance to speak from stages. Am I going to embarrass myself and never be able to work again? I actually thought that before my first time I spoke in front of an audience. And I used that exact technique to bring me present. So, folks, the Navy SEALs breathing technique, the body of evidence, what does it do? It brings you to the present so that you can properly engage and trust yourself. That's really what you want here, is the ability to be able to trust yourself. I'm going to say, here's a bonus tip that I happen to like a lot, by the way. And you're like, all right, so what's this all about? One of the biggest things, I happen to work a program, and I won't go through a lot of that, but in terms of my personal life, and there's an expression where they talk about you don't have to go it alone. I'm going to bring it back to business and talk about that you never have to go it alone. So what's this? You want to alleviate nerves. You want to get yourself comfortable in regards to your next presentation. Remember, there are people in your life that have helped you. Think of them as you're driving in the car or walking it around. Oh, brother. Nick Russo, who I got to hang out with at the One SEO One conference. I am such a fan, all right? And we had a great conversation. I'm thrilled that you jumped on it all, Nick. So anyway, grateful to you and thank you for all that. So, but I bring up what I call this influencer's wall of fame. I'm going to make a suggestion. I don't like challenging people in this regard, but you want to get yourself right in terms of centered for a conversation, presentation, sales pitch, team meeting, interview. You want to be able to do that. Remember, even when you show up for that meeting, think of all the people that have helped you along the way. I created this, what I call my influencers wall of fame. It's not to impress you. I use it to impress me when I'm spiraling all out of control. Let me give you an example of a spiraling all out of control. And here's a hack that you can use. I'll bring this right back up in a moment. But have you ever done this before? You're getting ready for your conversation. You're getting ready for your interview, presentation, sales pitch, whatever, right? Pardon me. Miss me? All right. So, did you ever pull this? And I hope you're not doing it when you're driving. But let's just say you're walking, preparing. Did you ever start this bit and just mindlessly scroll? Anyone? Okay, I have. But in the meantime, you know what? And your intentions may be good. Your intentions may be like mindless. Like I'm not even thinking. It's never a great result. So I'll tie this back to the wall of fame, but here's your bonus tip. This is the one that I beg you before a big meeting, say 5-10 minutes out, lose this. I mean, lose it. You might be thinking, oh, maybe I'll remember one more thing. Maybe one more thing will come to light, and it won't. You know what's going to come to light in the situation? Something bad. Sorry, I'm not trying to alarm you, but you'll see something like, let me give you a personal example. Oh, hey, have you heard from so-and-so? I haven't heard from them in a while. Wonder if they're okay. I've actually gotten those, right? And all that does is freak me out. Or another client. Oh, I never got that information, and now it's late. I'll need to speak with you, stat. And you're just getting keyed up, right? And then you jump on the Zoom call, or you jump on Microsoft Teams, or you jump into an in-person situation, and you're a bundle of nerves. Your tip before a big meeting: do not pick this up. 15 minutes minimum before. 30 minutes is even better. Put it away. Lock it in your trunk if you have to. Do not pick that up. Anything can wait. Rarely, if ever, is it going to be good news that you stumble into. So don't. Because again, remember, these encounters, these presentations, these situations are really all one-offs. Your big meetings, they don't even know. Sometimes they don't know that you just got some weird personal message and now you're all a bundle of nerves. Really hard to engage when you're setting yourself up for failure. So I said I'd bring it back to the business in this wall of fame. Here's something you could do, right? What I did in this case is, you may recognize some of these faces. Some of these faces are people that I've worked with or for, almost all of them. I've met almost all of them. Again, I'm not showing you this to impress you, even though, look at me, Mr. Name check. Oh, look, there's Mel Robbins. How about that? Oh, there's my NHL Dave Scatcher. Trust me, I know that sounds so self-serving, but what it does is these people have worked with me. And when I'm having a really bad morning, day, afternoon, and not feeling like anything's rolling right, I look at this and remember, I've gotten to come a long way on the backs of a lot of great people who have either trained me, sales coaches, life coaches, business coaches, executive mentors. The fact that I'm a sales coach, that I am a sales trainer, that I am an executive coach, all comes from the fact that I've learned from these people. So remember when I say you never had to go it alone? Instead of scrolling on the phone to pick a fight with someone on Facebook or get all huffy because not enough people responded to your post, or you got a bad email or a text that's worrying you, stop that. Maybe think about the people that have helped you. What did I do to create this influencers wall of fame? Well, I just found their pictures and stuck them on a PowerPoint slide, and that's it. So we look at them and think, oh, right, they helped me do this. They helped me to achieve that. They encouraged me. Again, it's the ability to be able to engage and be present, because chances are great you already know what it is that you need to do in the situation. I'm going to take one step backward before we wrap with the last tip. This is a reminder. None of these tips or hacks that are situational replace preparation. None of them. My intention always is to amplify the prep work that you've already done. Folks, I am in no way stating that you shouldn't bother to prepare. Do your homework. I mean, really do your homework. Be so ready that when you're speaking that you can do a presentation without reading your slides out loud, which nobody wants. I'm guaranteeing you, nobody wants, because your job in any of those business conversations, important conversations, is to be fully engaged. This exchange of energy, it is crucial. If you're hiding behind your PowerPoint slides or your Crip notes, or God, that made me sound old. 100 years ago, we used to have to use Crip notes, Cliff notes, to be able to pretend that we read a book. Now we just Google or ChatGPT, and then they just tell us the book. But in that, I digress. Here's what I would say. Remember, these are all short encounters. And sadly, most people don't know your real history or know what you did this morning or this afternoon. And so they want you to succeed, but you're not going to get the help because people are going to be judging you. So again, I use this as my own. I might stare at this for a couple of minutes to make myself feel better. Okay. Now, I want to give you a quick recap of an event that I happened to be at as a reminder to the importance. And then I'm going to reference this old show and hope you remember it. Bonus points if you do. So it is really important, as I get continually reminded, to be fully present and engaged. You've heard me say that about 47 times, which means the following. You have to be there. You have to trust the fact that all the preparation that you did, remembering material, remembering names, understanding situations, having examples, have examples so that you can put them in when you are describing or narrating so that people can make it more relatable to them. The examples, right? So, what I would suggest with all of this is, because you have to be fully engaged, and we talked about that sense of not distracting yourself, I'm going to make a suggestion and then a reminder to you. I call this my connection mode, right? So, folks, as a reminder, it is your job to make all of these connections, especially when you are the one speaking, presenting, delivering material. It is your job to connect you to whoever the audience is. One person, a room full of people. It's your job to know that. It's not the audience's job to get to you. You have to make the connection, which means you got to be there. You have to make it relatable. Secondly, it is your job to know the content so that you can give living, breathing examples and not read it as if you're reading a book out loud. I've seen it a million times. I still see it. Frustrates me. It actually saddens me when I watch people or just read things, right? It's like it's too easy to get lost or to have people check out. So it is your responsibility to know the content so that you could tell the appropriate story. And 3, it's your job to bring the audience to the content. Whether it's 2 people, 1 person, 2 people, 2,000 people in a room. Here's the example, right, of a great way that you can help yourself. I just experienced it. And by the way, it also works when you're the listener. People, the ones speaking, really appreciate when you're the one that's helping them engage. I got called out, I guess it was 4 times this past Friday at an event. 4 different people said to me they really loved the fact that I was able to, of my energy. Here's how this works, why this impacts you. That was really sweet to hear, means a lot to me. It's because that connection, you want to be able to make sure with the connection that you are able to have people relate, I'm going to show you my personal favorite. I'm going to get this chance on Thursday to deliver what is my favorite tip. Favorite. And I call it water the plants. This applies to any communication where there are two or more people. The more people, the better this works, but you just need two people. Say you're in a class, like I said, I'll be in a classroom on Thursday, right? I understand there'll be 30 people. What does water the plants mean? Well, it's nice because they grow. You play into the people that are responding to you so that you give yourself the traction to grow, to be able to get comfortable. It is not easy in pressure situations to take the wheel. It's not. You don't know where to start and you feel awkward and you're afraid they're going to ask you X and you won't know the answer. So, what do? Business conversation, presentation, speaking to an audience, interview situation. Find the one or ones that are nice, that are smiling, that are nodding their heads, right? That you've seen them, you've been a part of it. Ain't it cool? How's that for grammar? Ain't it cool when you look at somebody, they're speaking and they're acknowledging you? That's really all this is. Find the one or ones that are acknowledging you. They're always there. They're always there. It is rare that you're in a presentation and no one is interested. That's a rough crowd, right? You always have someone. So find them and talk to them. You're speaking to more than one person, but you're always having a conversation, typically with one person. So what does that mean? Focus on them so that you can get comfortable. The one that's smiling, acknowledging, they appreciate it when you're the one doing it. But I promise you, you will appreciate it when you find those people, that person. You only need one just to get yourself comfortable, to take roots, to use a plant analogy, to take roots so you can get your bearings to tell the story that you want to tell. So the benefit is that you're comfortable speaking in a group because one or two people are going to help you. Right? That seems to be the theme here is you're looking for help without necessarily asking for help, right? When you do that, these recollections, I'll recall it real fast for you when I talk about that sense of the Navy SEALs breathing technique and the body of evidence. You're looking for help from your mindset to get you right so that you can be present, remembering you've done something good and you deserve a seat at the table or the podium or wherever, right? And we talked about those things, and I talked about you never have to go it alone. Don't distract yourself with nonsense, checking your phone 30 seconds before you walk in a room so that you get some horrible situation. Don't do it. Focus on instead who has brought you to this dance now or in the past. They've helped you. Think of them. You deserve that seat at the table. And then number 3, when I talk about watering the plants, find the person or persons that make you comfortable. Talk to them for a moment or so to get yourself comfortable enough where you can now focus on a larger group and even the people that don't seem fascinated with your every word. So to me, if you just did those 3 things, I'm putting up the wrong quantity. Of course, I used to be good at math, and I'm like focusing on these 3 things. Ignore that part, but the rest of it I feel good about, right? That to me will get you through the situation, right? I always show this at the end. Hey, this is like I teach this stuff for a living, but I'm only here to remind you that you get your mindset right. You use your body appropriately when you're speaking. You establish those connections, that love connection, 3-way connection that I talked about. And by the way, that's the old show that I was referencing. And make sure that your tech is right so that doesn't let you down. And typically what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to handle that situation effectively. Now, Here's what I'll say. I told you I typically only go about 30 minutes. I don't want to torture people. I am over the moon grateful that you showed up for me today. That QR code that you're looking at right there, that's how you get to me. It's pretty easy. And what you can then do is I offer a free 30-minute discovery call that we can talk about how I work if you're ever interested in going further, right? But that 30-minute discovery call, that's on the house. Oh, this is awesome. Billy, nice to have you. I appreciate you and thank you for showing up. And folks, I thank everyone here for showing up. Lastly, as I said, you've got that offer. Click that QR code, goes to my website. You'll see how to get at me. And then that way, as I said, you get a 30-minute discovery call where we can focus on you. I am typing in the chat right now. You need me? This is my email address, jd@duffinmedia.com. That's how you get at me. Anytime, for any reason, I'm always happy to help. And I promise you, I'll be back with more as it relates to our top tips and the ability to get you into a situation where, and this is the most important thing to me, we are looking to find your best, most true, authentic voice. That's it. No need to sound like an orator. No need to sound like an announcer. It's your best, most authentic version of you. Because when you are speaking at your authentic best, not worrying and panicking and sounding off, that's when the results come. They're the people that people want to work with, work for, invest in. So the money results typically come from that sense of knowing people want to know, like, respect, trust you, sound it. So that's what we're all about. John Duffin here with Duffin Media. Thanks so much for showing up for me today. I am wildly grateful. And as I said, you know how to get at me. Use that QR code or jd@duffinmedia.com, and I'll be happy to help. Have a fantastic rest of the day, folks. Thanks for showing up for me, and we will talk soon. Bye.